Hey guys, Josh Mason here for some real talk, late night real talk. It's 11 o'clock at night. I got myself a nice dandelion root tea here and just felt inspired to talk about healing, health, and rewriting the story of health. You know, whatever you're going through out there, whatever you're going through, whether it's something minor or to you it's not minor. See, this is the thing. Everyone is going through their own shit, and to one person, you know, feeling mildly depressed feels like the end of the world to them. To another person, they're suicidal, panicking 24/7 and their heart racing, and they feel like they're being electrocuted, and that's a major thing for them. But to each person, it's a major thing, right? So I just want you to know that whatever it is that you're going through, it's okay. And what do I mean by that? By it's okay? Most of us don't give ourselves permission to go through these things. Most of us have an entire story that chimes in when we feel these symptoms, whether it's depression or panic or anxiety. There's a whole story that comes in of where we're headed, the path we're on, what's coming next, what our diagnoses are, why we're screwed, why it's our genetics and we're going to be screwed and this is what we have to deal with for the rest of our lives. That story that chimes in, you know. The reason I say it's okay is to give yourself permission to go through it. You know, if I'm totally honest, the past 2 weeks I've been going through some serious deep shit. I've been having inflammation all over my body, which I haven't had in a long time. Feeling super vulnerable emotionally, feeling super sensitive, like way more sensitive than normal, and I'm a sensitive dude. And I gotta admit, the first few days of it, I was bugging out. I was like freaking out, like you know, I was headed back to my old self, to my illness. And it wasn't until 3 or 4 days into it when I started giving myself the space to feel it and actually just listen to it, and started to sleep more and rest more and stop trying to chase this mysterious this allure of trying to be successful, you know, just chasing it. You know, you guys may not see it because on my YouTube channel I don't bring everything forward, you know, but there's a lot of desire and wanting to be successful behind the scenes, you know, that you don't see. I may come across as a cool cat in all my videos and just someone who I don't know how I come across in my videos, I really don't. But anyway, the desire to be successful and the desire to have more followers and the desire to be known and to be a health coach and to be successful and all of that, and this desire to make more money, all of that is something that I just needed to take a rest from. My body was just exhausted from trying to make all of these things happen, from trying to pull from this certain place of energy that I was pulling from. It's like, if you notice in your life, see where you're pulling from. I would find myself waking up and pulling from a certain place of like, need to do more, make more, have more, and that feeling of lack, as opposed to pulling from this place of, I love helping people, I love doing what I do, I want to do this because I love doing it, you know? And that doesn't even feel like, when you do it from that place, it's not even like a pulling of energy. It's almost like the universe is like pushing you. You know, you don't have to do anything. So my reason for bringing all that up is because that all tied into why I was feeling exhausted and inflamed, and that needed to be recalibrated. And there was a 2-week period where, and still happening, where I'm recalibrating, moving more towards trust, moving more towards abundance instead of scarcity mentality. So for me, once I gave myself space with my symptoms, I was able to learn the lesson that the divine was trying to teach me. And I'm still in the process, by the way. I'm not totally out of it. I also, if you see my Facebook page, I got rid of like 40 gallstones. I didn't make a video about it, but that was during this whole process too. So that lesson could have never been learned if I stayed in my story of I'm getting sick again. Oh my God, I'm getting sick again. There would have been no space for the magic to unfold. Whereas now, just truly tuning in, listening to the symptoms, understanding them, feeling them, not racing towards a diagnosis on the internet, I've been able to recalibrate. And I feel like it was a massive shift and a massive change that needed to happen. And I feel very vulnerable now and open, and my heart is open. I feel very emotional. But that doesn't make it bad. That doesn't make it unwanted, because that's part of the human experience, that vulnerability. You know, anyone on the planet is 5 seconds away from being extremely vulnerable at any point in time. Think about it. Getting hit by a car, getting into a car accident, losing a loved one. We're all 5 seconds away from serious vulnerability. So the vulnerability needs to be embraced, as opposed to, for me, for many years, just being a fighter. You know, you never show vulnerability through jiu-jitsu. You just don't show it. If you sniff an ounce of vulnerability on someone, you know you're going to beat them in the fight. It's like those moments leading up to a fight were so important. The stare down. You can tell, you can read a soul by looking at the man before you fight him. You can feel if he's looking at you out of fear. You can feel if he's looking at you like you're a prey about to be eaten. You can feel if he's overcompensating. You can feel if he's so badass that he doesn't even have to look at you. There's all of this stuff that goes into, you know, before a jiu-jitsu fight. And vulnerability is not in the cards. I used to be able to smell it on somebody from across the fucking auditorium. If they were sick, or if they didn't feel well, or if they felt weak, or if they felt tired, or if they felt like they were going to lose, or if they were nervous or scared of you. Oh my God, you smell that out, and you just run through them, you know. So vulnerability for me through the health journey and healing journey is you know, is something new. And I'm just learning how important it is to just be open to it, to be accepting of it. And vulnerability is not weakness. It's not weakness, which I've been forced to learn. It's not weakness. It's part of this human experience for sure. So giving yourself the space to heal. It's like we have these symptoms, we have these things that are going on, you know, body hurts, fatigue, brain fog, whatever the symptom is. And then there's the story that kicks in of what it means, where we're going, the track we're on, where we're headed, boom, boom, boom. And sometimes it's fucking hard to get space from that story because you're lost in it. But the way through these phases, all of these things are phases, you know. You could have never told me when I was in my 3.5-year agony that it was a phase. You could have never told me that. I would have laughed in your fucking face if you said, yeah, it's a phase, dude. Don't worry. This too shall pass. I couldn't believe it. I was too stuck in my story. But now, years later, I look back and it was a phase. Everything is happening in phases. Yeah, there are people who are like, man, I've had crippling depression for 25 years, man. Suicidal depression for 25 years. Tune into those people. Take a real good look at those people. They are stuck. They are wanting to live in that depression. I've never seen anybody with any real drive or determination or sincerity or authenticity or massive wanting for true healing to stay in a state, in a rut for 25 years. Never seen that. So just know that whatever you're going through is a phase. It's part of what's happening to you right now. It's not who you are. It's not an all looming, all glooming illness that's going to take your life. If you believe it will be, it's possible that it will be. But coming back to my point here is just that the space has to be allotted for yourself. Nobody else can give it to you. They can hint it to you like I'm doing now. But the real cultivation and the real carving of this opening for yourself, of this space for yourself, has to be done on a daily basis. Of, wow, I'm going through something massive right now. But it doesn't mean X, Y, and Z. It's just massive. It feels this way. It doesn't mean X, Y, and Z with what your mind has made it to mean. What if you just need a recalibration? What if your values and your place that you're pulling from needs changing? What if the universe no longer wants you in the paradigm that you're living in? Take a look at the paradigms that need to be shifted, at the emotions that need to be healed and looked at the people in your life that need to be severed or healed or improved, the relationships, all of those things. Take a look at all of that at the same time, or maybe even instead of jumping to a supplement, to a diagnosis, to the word Lyme, to the word SIBO, to the word IBS, to the word IBD, to the word gastritis, whatever the word is that you then grind on and going down that pathway of illness. Take a look at what the universe wants you to do differently. Take a look at what your highest soul and your spirit wants you to do differently before you jump into a story. And then there's context around what you're going through. Context is king. Why do I say that? The difference between a shaman and a schizophrenic, the difference between, okay, I shouldn't say shaman because I'm going to use myself in this analogy. I wouldn't really call myself a shaman. I don't know what I am. The difference between me, somebody who now has 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, helping hundreds, maybe thousands of people around the world with their health. The difference between that and someone who's completely helpless in a suicidal, in a psych ward, which, by the way, I spent 6 days in a psych ward during my journey. The difference is that one of the two parties believed in the system and listened, and the other party didn't listen. That's literally the difference between a schizophrenic and a shaman. Again, bringing us into the power of the human spirit. If you believe it, it will become true. So, context. Those people had no context for what was happening to them. Thus, they believed, they listened, they take pills, they sleep all day, they're zombies in a psych ward. I refused to believe them, the system. I refused to believe it. I would have gone to my death. And I wasn't even scared. I shouldn't say I wasn't scared of death. I was terrified of death, but death was not going to get in my way. The only thing that clawed at my insides was not the fear of death, but the fear of being tortured alive for my whole life by my own mind. But again, context. When we start putting things in context, it changes the illness, it changes the symptoms, it turns it from an illness to a shift, an illness to a gift. It turns it from an illness to signal, a symptom to a signal. Ooh, that's a good book. From Symptom to Signal. Josh Mason on mental illness. So the context here is that you are unraveling thousands of years of faulty blueprints and trauma and bullshit and famine and starvation and rape and hunger and war and poverty. And not only are you doing that, but you are evolving to a new species of a human being. When I look at humanity right now, I see a split in humanity. I see Homo sapien domesticus, which is a domesticated human being, and then I see the rewilding or the re-engaging with the spirit of a human being, a new species branching off. It's literally the work that I feel that I'm doing is not just me, but the planet is doing, is creating a new species of human who are here with a new paradigm, who are connected to spirit, to divine. It takes so much pain, so much agony to crack out of all the old and into the new. It's a death. It's a rewiring. It's a carbon turning into a diamond. It's a butterfly, a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. None of these processes are easy. None of these natural processes are smooth. They are massively, massively difficult and require tons of pressure and force. So, give yourself the context to go through it, and it'll change everything. The context of your illness. Okay, that feels complete. It's bedtime for me. Hope you enjoyed the show. Why don't you give me a like and a comment and a subscribe. Oh man, that feels so lame to say that after the deepest depths of my soul spoke. Please don't subscribe, don't like, and do not comment. Absolutely pathetic that I brought that up. In fact, unsubscribe. Unsubscribe right now. Alright. Be well, and give yourself the space. Give yourself the context. Remember what you're doing on this planet. Remember how massive it is. Give yourself a break. Alright. That's all she wrote. Peace.